Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Park or Yard podcast. We just finished up a series in Tampa Bay today, won it 2-1. I thought it was a pretty complete series. We have a lot to talk about, though, mostly positive. We have some negatives that we have to talk about specifically concerning today's game. But first thing I want to discuss, if you are watching on YouTube, you could direct your attention to the right-hand side of your screen, the fourth box down on my little agenda that I have there. You'll notice that it says Fox Broadcast Rant. I've decided to do that a different time, defer that to a different episode, because I decided that there are more important things to talk about than my hatred for John Smoltz. Got it? Good. Let's talk Orioles. The way I decided to kind of lay these recaps out is go in a chronological order. I've seen some podcasts go in reverse chronological, so talk about the most recent game and then the middle game of the series and then the first one. I don't like that. So I'm just going to go Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, and we'll talk about them from there. Just want to make sure that was clarified. The two Zachs started in Game 1. Zach Eflin, former Ray, and Zach Littell. Zach Eflin pitched beautifully. Zach Eflin is finally finding his ground as an Oriole. Probably had something to do with the fact that he was pitching in his home ballpark again, or his former home ballpark, I should say. He looked great. I loved everything he had. He had about 13 whiffs, which I love pitchers with swing and miss stuff. If you can do that, you will have a ton of success. So I'm always all in on whiff pitchers. Zach Eflin had that that night. 7 scoreless, 4 hits. Just pitched real solid. 7 Ks, just real solid. I think he only had 4 or 5 hard hits. So if you have 4 or 5 hard hits and then you have 4 hits against you, that's solid pitching, because that means all of the outs you got were on weak contact or, like I said, swing and miss stuff. I loved this performance. Seranthony Dominguez was just brilliant. He's everything I thought he would be. He's such a just ginormous arm for us. And when I say ginormous arm, I'm talking about his velocity, because his velocity is just elite stuff out of Seranthony Dominguez. He averaged 100, which amazing. His spin is up from his year average, or was up from his year average in this outing. His vertical break and horizontal break looked worse, which I don't understand that correlation, but as long as his stuff is effective, I don't really care. Again, got his whiffs. Only had 1 strikeout, which, I mean, he's a sinker baller. He throws it hard, but he's a sinker baller, so I expect lower launch angle from Seranthony Dominguez. So we'll see him more in the rest of the series. He was great. Yennier Cano doing Yennier Cano things. Again, his spin was up from his year average, which is great. His whiffs, Cano is always going to get whiffs. So, again, great pitching performance out of the Orioles this season, or series rather. Zach Littell didn't have his best stuff, but I don't think that the Rays can kind of expect that. His big thing was that his sweeper spin rate was 50 RPMs down, so he wasn't getting nearly the break that he normally did. and the Orioles capitalized. If we look at the pitch 3D that Baseball Savant provides, he was missing high, and that's not really a recipe for success for pitchers. Normally, if you want to miss, you want to miss low, especially with breaking balls. Fastballs, you can afford to miss high. Like if you're aiming low and you throw it high, like nobody's mad at you. Assuming it's not like middle, because fastballs up in the zone are always effective, pretty much. It's when you start missing breaking balls high, because a breaking ball high is a breaking ball down the middle of the plate, and that's just not a good pitch to any hitter. And I can kind of see Littell had a couple of those, mostly sliders that missed in the heart of the plate, and you don't really want to miss middle to one of the better offenses in the game right now, and that's exactly what Zach Littell did. He gave up, I believe, 10 hard hits, which not great stuff. 3 earned runs, had 5 Ks, but he definitely could have had a little better command over his breaking balls this outing. Richard Lovelady, wild last name. That's what I have to say about Richard Lovelady. Wild last name. Also wild ERA, 7.2. Yikes. Kevin Kelly threw 2 scoreless innings for him. He was fine. He didn't really blow anybody away. He had a couple misses in the zone that we should have capitalized on, but it's fine. We were already up, and I guess we kind of relied on our pitching to kind of carry, but it was an all-around game, this one. There's not a ton to talk about. Eloy Jimenez went 3 for 4 this game, and if I go look right here, let's do this. Eloy Jimenez, yep, he had 3 hits. 2 of them were considered hard hit, but one of them, none of them had a positive launch angle. I said it in the first episode. I would love to see what happens when Eloy starts hitting the ball in the air, because, I mean, I look at this one off of Littell, 104.9, -1 launch angle. And then we have a 96, -14. If he can start hitting the ball in the air, I think we're going to start seeing that OPS go up, because his average isn't awful. It's 267 or something like that, I believe. But his OPS is in the 680s. And it's really because he just doesn't slug. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of his swing to know, or even have a concept of what the hole would be. But I really hope our hitting coach can kind of figure it out for him, because he's going to be so special to watch if he can even get an average launch angle, because the league average launch angle is 12.3, and I'm pretty sure his season average launch angle is 2.3. Yeah. Eloy, I mean, he's always had just such a powerful swing. Even on the White Sox, when he came up, everybody was crazy about his swing and how much power he could produce. And these last couple of years, man, 1, he's been made of glass. 2, he's just done nothing but just pound the ball into the ground. So once he figures it out and starts lifting the ball, I'm sure that the Orioles coaching staff or hitting coach can sort of unlock that part of him. But I don't know. I just feel like he's losing so much value because of that. But it's fine. He's still hitting like 500 for us and has like a gajillion RBIs. But yeah, I mean, other than that, Cedric Mullins has had a sneaky amount of hard hit balls that just like really haven't sat. He's getting kind of hosed. Like, genuinely. He hit a home run in this game, but he had other like hits, or I guess batted balls would be the correct term. My apologies. That just aren't sitting. And I don't know, like maybe he's just in a stretch of bad luck this year. His average has gone a lot up, but none of his like fly balls, which he does have like a pop up and fly ball problem, but he's like kind of the Eloy Jimenez adjacent, I guess, or the anti Eloy Jimenez. If Cedric Mullins can start getting it at a lower launch angle, I feel like he'll have more success, which is kind of crazy to say. But I mean, he went 2 for 4 with a bomb this game, but he had 3 hard hit balls, and that'll be kind of a theme that we see for the rest of the series. He's been hitting the ball pretty well, but he's been hitting it in the air too much. So, again, kind of the anti-Eloy Jimenez. If they could just like switch launch angles, well, not completely because Cedric's is like a little too high, but like if they could switch launch angles, I feel like both of them would find much more success. I think that kind of covers it for game 1. Just a solid overall win. There's not a lot that I have to complain about. Yeah, it was just a solid win. Hit the ball hard, pitched great. I loved this game of the Orioles. So we can move on. There's not a ton more to talk about there. Game 2 was a pitching matchup of Corbin Burnes and Drew Rasmussen. Drew Rasmussen, he's an interesting case because I believe game 2 was a pitching matchup between Corbin Burnes, the ace, and Drew Rasmussen. Drew Rasmussen is an interesting case. This was only his second game this year. First start, he was on a strict 2-inning limit, but he didn't even get to pitch that because he ran into some bad luck. And while the Orioles put some great swings on the ball, there was only about one that was hit like pretty hard, and that was Adley's double. The others were just kind of either excuse me hits or opposite field good swing. Like, that was kind of it. Yeah, Rasmussen, 1 inning, 4 hits, 3 earned. No walks, no strikeouts, nothing like that. Brought his season ERA to 9, which of course is blown up because he only had two games. Then we move on to Tyler Alexander, who gave up 5 hard hits in 4.2 innings, 6 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Give up a bomb to the king himself, Jackson Holliday. Although I do want to talk about Jackson Holliday because unfortunately he seems like kind of an all or nothing guy right now. He hit a home run, which is great. Love when players hit home runs. Hitting home runs is good. But if I'm not mistaken, that was his only hit this series. So, kind of a problem. But at the same time, I'm not like overly concerned because I mean he was much better about it in Cleveland and oh my God, who did we play before this? Toronto. He was more consistent in those series, but I'd like to see the contact a little more. On the other side of that, I would love to see Gunnar Henderson bring out that power that we saw in the first half because if I go to Gunnar Henderson's baseball reference and go into his game logs, I have to find it. I don't have this ready. I'm so unprepared. I'm a terrible podcast host. Since the All-Star break, so July 19th on, if I look at his slugging percentage, yeah, 393. Not great. Not great. And if we look at all of the games before that, I don't know how to get rid of a highlight. Hold on. It might be better to just reload the page. And indeed it is. If we look at the games before that, his slugging percentage was 584. So that's a solid, like, almost 200-point drop-off from the first half of the season. Now, he has a lot more time to fix this problem, but I'm just kind of pointing it out. His average is very good. It's a 286 average, but I'd like to see him start hitting for more power. I think he only has one home run after the All-Star break, which is a problem. But, I mean, he has, like, I'm not worried, like, at all. He's just been striking out a little too much, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Corbin Burnes was... The best way I can describe this start is a Corbin Burnes start. Just very put simply. He did have no hits through 4, and then the fifth inning was kind of rocky. He gave up 3 earned. But, I mean, other than that, he was brilliant. His slider is disgusting. If I go to his pitch 3D, I don't think he really missed a spot all that bad. Like, his pitch location, he gets, like, everything pretty much where he wants it. He has, like, one outlier pitch in this game, and that was a pitch out. That's one thing I want to discuss. Corbin Burnes needs to, like, slide step or something. Like, we gotta stop having him let up so many steals. He leads the league. I'm pretty sure it's 34 steals on the year, which is absurd. There's no way that we should have Adley Rutschman behind the plate and be giving up 34 steals from one pitcher. That just kind of proves the whole notion that Corbin Burnes, or not Corbin Burnes specifically, but runners steal bases on pitchers. Words. Holy crap. All right. Yeah. Runners steal bases on pitchers, not catchers. Catchers obviously have something to do with it. Like, if you have a 2.3 pop time, you ain't throwing anybody out. But Adley Rutschman doesn't have a 2.3 pop time, right? James McCann doesn't have a 2.3 pop time. And he's still getting, like, just walked all over on the bases. And I think that had, like, a huge impact on that fifth inning. They could just run all day, and there was nothing Adley could do about it. And I don't know. I feel like he just needs to, like, quicken up just a little bit, because he pitches out of the stretch normally, and he just doesn't, like, change anything. He doesn't, like, really change looks. He just kind of pitches, and it's effective. Like, I understand the mentality of you just got to get the batter out, and then the runner doesn't matter. But sometimes you don't always get the batter out. And when you don't get the batter out and the runner is on third because you only looked over there once in the entire at-bat, that's kind of a problem. It becomes problematic, but nevertheless, it's a solid start from Corbin Burnes. I'm not upset because we won the game. Our offense thrived, which that's all I can really ask for. I will just say this really quickly. I don't know who Birch Smith is. And he pitched for us yesterday. So, there you go. His stuff looked fine. He gave up a home run, but I don't really care. Yenier Cano pitched again. Yenier Cano did Yenier Cano things. Gave up an earned run, which, I mean, CNL Perez got him out of it. I mean, not without walking 2 batters first, but that's just kind of the CNL Perez way. And then Sir Anthony Dominguez was gross again. Got 4 more whiffs. Sir Anthony Dominguez has been here for probably about 8 games, and I have fallen in love with him. I love his arm so much. In terms of the rest of the Rays pitching, Garrett Cleavinger kind of diced up the O's. I can't really give you a solid reason why. Colin Poche got absolutely torched, which is great. Love it. Manuel Rodriguez, he got out of it for him. For Poche, that is. And then Fairbanks is Fairbanks. I can't, it was a close game at the end, but I still don't really see why he threw. He didn't really need to. Just to get him in, I guess. It was a close game. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as close in the 9th inning than it was in the... there was no real, reason for him. They could have gotten by with any of their other white guy relievers. Sorry. It's just true. I think I kind of covered this game. I don't know if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. I discussed the whole Rasmussen, we scored off of Rasmussen, but we lit up Alexander. Covered Holiday, we covered Gunnar, covered the bullpen, yeah. Game 2, it was a good offensive game. We could have pitched a little better, I guess, but Burnes was fine. I'm okay with this game. Now we are moving on to today's game, August 11th, in which we lost by 1 run. Albert Suarez was disgusting. Albert Suarez was great. Gave up a little more hard hits than I would have liked. His pitch location, he missed a little high, but it was with his fastball, so I'm okay with that. Left some changeups in places that I don't want to see changeups, but I mean, he didn't give up an earned run, and he got 16 whiffs, so I'm okay with this from Albert Suarez. It's weird seeing Albert Suarez after a Corbin Burnes start. I will say that. I'm used to seeing Grayson. I'm really hoping Grayson could come back because he's going to be huge for us down the stretch. And if we lose Grayson, right after the trade deadline, after we didn't get the biggest name arm that we thought we would, that's going to be kind of brutal. But, I mean, I don't see a reason that Rogers or Eflin can't fill that hole decently well. And I'm sure we have somebody in the minors that can get called up and fill a spot if we really, really, really need him to. So, yeah, Albert Suarez pitched great. Now we can talk about the bullpen. And it wasn't necessarily bad, but Perez gave up an earned run, which tied the game after Tony hit a tater, because that's what Tony does. Tony hits taters. And then we saw Craig Kimbrel. And if you guys remember from the beginning of the episode, I said that I wasn't going to rant about the Fox broadcast. That's because I want to rant about Craig Kimbrel. Craig Kimbrel is the most inconsistent son of a bitch I have ever seen in my life. I don't understand. Like, okay, let's go to our pitch 3D. Let's go to Craig Kimbrel. Right? I am looking at his pitching spread. He can't throw a strike with his fastball. And when he does, it is right down the middle at 93 at the major league level. What's that going to do? What's that going to do? The average pitch velocity has gone up so much. So much. We cannot be throwing 93 down the middle to major league baseball players. Like, and okay. Let's calm down. Let's gather our thoughts. Let's be rational human beings. Right? Okay. Craig Kimbrel has a fucking walk problem. Right? He walked 3 batters in this game. If I go to his pitch logs, I'm sure I'll find his other appearances where he has even more walks. Like, he has a control problem. He did in Philly. He does now. In his last 5 games, not including this one. Okay, let's include this one, because we can erase that one. He has 6 walks in his last 5 games. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. His ERA, if we go to his game log, his ERA before the trade deadline, or I guess I'll go to before the All-Star break. His ERA, where's his ERA? I can't find his ERA. He gave up 11 earned runs. So his ERA was 2.8. I found it. Go Leo. I found it. And his ERA since the All-Star break is, drumroll please, 5.4. That's our closer, lazies and Lentelman. I'm truly at a loss for words. We signed Craig Kimbrel to be the replacement to Felix Bautista, who was considered by many the best closer in baseball last year. And we replaced him with a guy who can barely throw a strike. Rough stuff. Obviously, we can see it based on, I believe it was the first game of the series. No, it wasn't. It was the last game of the series. What am I talking about? Or not the last game, the second game of the series. Hyde is recognizing the Kimbrel woes that we saw in Philly and are now seeing now. And he used Dominguez as the closer, which I think needs to switch to the full-time move, or we can start using Cano again. But I don't know, man. Cano's kind of inconsistent, but I'm officially ruling out Craig Kimbrel as an option at the closer. The latest I now want to see Craig Kimbrel in a game is the 7th inning. Like, straight up. I don't want to see Craig Kimbrel any later than that, especially in a close game. Like, I'm over it. Like, I'm just done. I'm over it. This was a winnable game to begin with, and I'm not going to put all the blame on Craig Kimbrel. Like, we didn't hit this game. Like, we just didn't. I think we only had 8 hard hit balls against the starter. Only gave up 1 earned run. And that was Tony Taters, because Tony likes to hit taters. That's what Tony Taters does. And then after that, we had 3 hard hit balls. That's just that. Yeah, that wasn't okay. And then we got Cade the side by fucking Pete Fairbanks, which I don't know if you guys remember the whole Pete Fairbanks beef back in like it might have been 2022. It could have been 2022. I think it was 2022. That sounds right. Um, but that was the whole beef. Pete Fairbanks is a dick. I hate Pete Fairbanks, but he's good. He can pitch sometimes. I want to talk about Kobe Mayo again. He's only had 2 at bats since the last time I talked about Kobe Mayo, but he's just his at bats are getting kind of progressively worse, which I don't know, man. Obviously it's ridiculous to write him off this early, right? But I mean, he's not even putting solid at bats together. Like he went 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. That's the only playing time he got this series. Again, I'm hoping next series, which is a 2-gamer against the Nats, which we'll preview. I'm kind of hoping he gets a little more playing time against a weaker pitching staff, just to at least get him the confidence of getting his first hit or maybe even his first home run. But I don't know. I'm not liking his at-bats right now. He's had tough pitching staffs to come up against, which is why I said about the whole get him his at-bats against the Nats. But, I mean, if we lose a game to the Nats because of him, I'm going to be, like, kind of, like, tweaked out. But, I mean, yeah. This game was shoulda, woulda, coulda. We could have done a lot more than we did. Gunnar had a nice game. We got the hits. We just, I think, RISP was a slight issue in this game. So, I can look at that in a separate box score. Runners in score, runners in scoring position 0 for 4, left on base 9. Not great. Not a recipe for success, but is what it is. We still won the series. All around, I like how we hit, except obviously the last game. All around, I liked how we hit. Hit a lot of balls hard, which is, at the end of the day, all I can really ask for. Pitching was solid. Pitching was great, actually, except for that little hiccup in the second game. I like how we're going into this homestand. After that, let's talk about the next coming series in Washington. So, game 1 starter, we're looking at Tyler Rogers, I believe. I can look at the schedule. Probably should have done that. I did, but I kind of forget. I can actually do that on my phone. I think the MLB, I want to say this. The MLB app, so much better than the website. I can find so many more things. So many more things? Is that how you say that? I don't know. I could find so many things on this app that I otherwise could not find on the website. We have, did I say Taylor Rogers? Trevor Rogers. Taylor Rogers is a reliever with a brother that throws really weird. So projected starters, Trevor Rogers, and I believe that's going to be Jake Irvin. Jake Irvin has been one of the Nationals' better pitchers. Still not incredible, but I feel we can. Obviously, he's hittable. So I'm looking for the offense to kind of break through. I have it here written on my notes. I say we kind of need this ego series because if I look at the oncoming schedule, I think we have it a little rough coming up. Like nothing we can't handle, but facing some at least better teams. Yeah, we have Right after that, we have the Red Sox, the Mets, and then the Astros. So I'd say the Nat series is a must sweep. I think we need to get our hits in, get our licks in, just smash at every chance we get. Pause. And what I'm looking for specifically from the offense this series is Gunnar needs to slug. That's what I'm really looking for. Like I mentioned earlier, he has like a 390 slugging percentage since the All-Star break. I want to see that go up. I want to see a couple bombs out of Gunnar this series. I feel like this is the best opportunity he's going to get for a bit. Even though he kind of crushes the Red Sox. And it's at home, but I want to see him gain that power confidence back. I'm kind of wondering if he's doing the whole contact thing on purpose, which I would find kind of weird. But yeah, I want to see a power surge out of Gunnar. I want to see a power surge out of the lineup. But I mean, I guess the moral of this episode, our pitching is doing their job unless it's a close game. That's unless it's a close game and we're up by less than one or more than one. How can you be up by less than one? What am I talking about? I'm not in a right headspace right now. Yeah, moral of this episode, we hit pretty well. We pitched even better, but Craig Kimbrel needs to get off of my team. That's the moral of this episode. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like or rate it 5 stars, whatever you're listening on. Apple Podcast, no, not Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcasts, and iHeartRadio and Spotify. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, do all of that. This was a fun episode, and I cannot wait to review the Nationals because I'm hoping that we had a power surge and we can talk about everybody hitting just piss missiles. Thank you for listening. I will talk to you guys on Wednesday.